A little screenshot if you can. Here's Longstreet, my old warhorse. September 17, 1862. Instructive it is to note that he said that quote just after he lost his right arm, quote unquote, Stonewall Jackson. There's the old warhorse. You know what to say about Longstreet. He was one of the more unsensational generals. And there's a lot to be said for that. I've already remarked about his relationship with Robert E. Lee many times throughout the war, including here at Gettysburg. He voiced his reservations. He was a little slow to battle a couple times. But you got to remember something. Longstreet was a very professional soldier. A very professional soldier. Longstreet was so professional that the war to him, in my opinion, was almost like a job. And that's not a put down. If you're a professional soldier, it is a job. It is a 9 to 5. So, you know, there were a lot of times when, you know, this battle or that battle was getting underway and everybody was all in a tizzy, and you know, sometimes Longstreet might have seemed just kind of lackadaisical, right? I think, like a lot of other people who were fighting this war or watching it from the sidelines, Longstreet just wanted this war to end. Was he smarter or a better general than Robert E. Lee? I don't think so. Just because there were times when Lee went ahead and made the charge when Longstreet disagreed. You know, again, I've already addressed this. There were a number of battles where Robert E. Lee felt he had no choice. He had to bring the fight. He could not stay defensive. You know, he couldn't just sit around and guard Richmond. That just was not going to work. I think every military strategist would agree that that was a dead-end road. So, you know, I'm not here to get into a debate about, you know, who was right more often, Longstreet or Lee, because they had different jobs. Fact is, Lee was calling the shots, and Longstreet had to, as a good soldier does, obey his orders, whether he agreed with them or not. And he generally did. What a beautiful tree. I'm sure there are a couple people who hate me for just enjoying the scenery around here as much as anything else, and you know, look at it. Look at this place. Look at this place. So I guess that's what I have to say about Longstreet. You know, the fun question is, would the war have been changed in any way whatsoever if Stonewall Jackson didn't succumb to his injuries, or I'm sorry, actually to his pneumonia? I guess that's a somewhat interesting question, but you know what I think at the end of the day, with all Civil War what ifs, it's ridiculous. You know, it's fun, it's entertaining, it's something to take up the time, but I don't think it would have changed much. The North had too many people, too many soldiers for hire available to them, given that, you know, they just rounded up all the immigrants and had, you know, all these, you know, leagues and leagues of Germans fighting for them, and then eventually the blacks that they freed. But more important than that, as I've mentioned over and over, they had the resources. They had the technological base. How are you going to fight a war without a good technological base? You know, I understand, you know, a lot of people who discuss the Civil War, you know, mentioned, oh, nobody thought it was going to last this long. I mean, you know, I'm not sure about that. That's, you know, kind of something that people say, and it sounds good and it rings true. But no serious soldier would ever make that assumption. Anyways, Longstreet was an interesting guy, very reserved, very measured, wise. I guess another interesting question is, what if it was Longstreet as you know, overall commander instead of Robert E. Lee? But you know, again, I don't think that would have made much of a difference. In fact, I think Robert E. Lee was the very best pick that the Confederacy could have made, regardless of, you know, what your dithers are. He wasn't perfect, but he did the best with what he had. I don't know where my car is. Oh, I'm back there. Huh. Okay, guys. Just wanted to cover something I haven't covered before. I'm sure lots of folks would rather I just didn't do any more videos from Confederate Ave. But again, if that's your spin on things, you don't understand a thing about this war, and you have you got no business. History has no place for bias. Little reminder for folks, you know, if you want to do you know, if you want to be the next talking head on the cable news, fine. History doesn't have any place for that. You hear me? History doesn't have any place for, oh, my favorite team is this, and I think things should have happened this way. And no. History is scientific. You follow what's in front of you, and you go where it leads, and that's it. Any other way about going about history, you're doing it wrong. And I don't like that. Anyhow, a lot of soapboxing lately, guys. Sorry, but it comes part and parcel with this. You cannot talk about, you can only talk about the Civil War for so long before you address real issues. Again, I'm not trying to put these folks down, but a lot of the folks that are experts on the Civil War, a lot of the Gettysburg, you know, crew, so to speak, we know who they are. They work for the ABT, they work for the, you know, Adams County. I love them, and they're great. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying, but their job isn't to ask the hard questions. That's my job.